So now we are going to discuss about the transverse flux linear synchronous motor. Right? So in last class we are discussing about slotted and permanent magnet, and by the completing of last class we discussed about the slotless based permanent magnet synchronous motor. So all these things will come under a heteropolar type of synchronous motor. So now we are going to discuss about the another type of flux which is going to travel in a synchronous motor. So that is transverse magnetic flux linear synchronous motor. Right? So in general, if you see a linear synchronous motor, in general, if you see a linear synchronous motor, the synchronous motor will have a primary, right? Will have your primary and will have your poles like this, right? Now, the secondary, coming to the secondary, the poles will be like this. So this is our secondary. Now, the way of flux is produced here. The way of flux produced here will be in the direction which is parallel to the motion of a primer. Will be in the direction parallel to the motion of the primer. Now we are going to discuss about a motor which is going to produce a flux which is perpendicular to the direction of a magnetic field or a motion, right? So that type of machine is said to be as a transverse magnetic flux linear synchronous motor, right? And that type is said to be as a transverse magnetic flux linear synchronous motor, right? So in this case, what is happening, right? So now, if you go with a primary, if you go with a primary, and this primary will be like this, right? And this primary will be like this, and then now, if you go with the poles, if you go with the poles, so it will be very good if we see the three-dimensional aspect, right? So that because it is transverse flux which is going to travel, the flux will be traveling in perpendicular to the direction of a motion. So we are going to do a three-dimensional aspect, right? So that will be more clarity for us. So coming to the three-dimensional aspect. Coming to the three-dimensional aspect. Right? Consider a primary will be here. Consider there is a primary here, that is nothing but a core, and the primary will be around this core, right? And the primary will be around this core, and this is our armature. And now what I am going to draw is our armature. And this is our armature, right? Again, similarly, after some distance, again there will be one armature, right? Again there will be another armature. Again, after some distance, there will be another armature. Right? And coming to the primary, sorry, secondary. Coming to the secondary, what happens here? We are going to have a secondary, right? We are discussing about permanent magnet type of a linear synchronous motor, and that we should not forget here. So why we are going for a permanent magnet type? In order to increase the power density of a motor, right? So now, where we are going to keep the magnet? So to place a magnet, we are going to place a magnet below the core of primary. Below, so here there is a core, so we are going to place a magnet. We are going to place a magnet here. So here there is a core, and here we are going to place a magnet here. Again, here there is a core. We are going to place a magnet here. Similarly, at this side there will be a core. Again, we are going to place a magnet here. Again, here there is a core, and below this core we are going to place a magnet. Again, at this terminal there will be a core, and we are going to place a magnet. And this is what our secondary. And this is what our secondary is made of. Right? Now, so if this is not, if this is not, and this one will be sub. If this is not, and this one will be sub. Again, if this is not, automatically this one will be south. And if this one is south pole, and this one will be automatically north pole. So like this manner, the magnet is arranged. Now, so where is the coil here? And this is our coil. And this is our coil. And this is our core. And this is our core. And this is our secondary. And this is the permanent magnet. Now, as usual, so the flux produced by the permanent magnet and the flux produced by the primary will have an interaction such that the in order to make a motion. And now consider the motion is flowing in this direction, and this is the direction of motion. And now, what is the direction of flux, or what is the direction of force that is going to move? So that will be in the direction perpendicular. So this is the direction of flux, which is produced by the interaction of the magnetic field from the primary as well as the secondary. So the flux direction is perpendicular to the direction of the motion. So this type of machine is said to be as a transverse magnetic flux type linear synchronous motor. So this motor is coming under a permanent magnet type of machine. Right? So now, if it is a double-sided machine, so what happens for the double-sided machine? Again, this component has to be come at the bottom. So how we have to make this component here? Again, in a similar manner, we are going to have a three-dimensional aspect. We are going to make a three-dimensional aspect. Right? We are going to have a three-dimensional. Again, over this. Now, we have to make a core in this fashion. So this is our core here, right? And this is our core. And this is our core. So what is the core here? And this one is the core. This one is the core and this one is the coil. That is the primary winding or our armature winding. So again, the flux will be produced in perpendicular to the direction of the motion. So this type of machine is said to be a transverse magnetic flux linear synchronous motor, right? And now we are going to discuss about another type of machine that is said as a homopolar type. Another one is said to be as homopolar type machine. Now, what is the homopolar type machine here? So now I am going to type here, right? There are two types depend on the arrangement of coils and permanent magnet. It is classified into two types. One is heteropolar and second one is homopolar. One is heteropolar and another one is homopolar. So what is this heteropolar? So as we discussed now, hetero means what? Different. Homo means it is same. So hetero means now consider there is a primary here, there is a primary and this primary will have a poles here, right? And now there is a secondary here. And this secondary will also have a poles. Either it can be a electromagnetic excitation based machine or it can be a permanent magnet based machine. So what happens? Here also there is a winding available. So that is said to be as the armature winding, and here also there is a winding available, that is excitation winding. So what happens? Two types of windings are present at each part of a machine, right? So the armature winding is found at the primary and the excitation is found at the secondary. So this type of arrangement to get the polarity as well as to make the motor to move from one position to another position is said to be as a heteropolar type of a linear synchronous machine. Now coming to the homopolar type. What is happening here? In this, there is no coil in the primary. Sorry, there is no coil in the secondary, or there is no permanent magnet in the secondary. What happens to the excitation here now? Then we are having only the coil armature winding. We are having only the armature winding in the primary. We are having only armature winding in the primary. But in order to produce a force, this flux, armature flux, has to be interlinked with some other flux. So that is depend upon the magnets. So this magnet will be available here. So what happens? The armature winding also is present at the primary, as well as the permanent magnet also is present at the primary. So both the things are present at the same part of the machine. So this type of machine is said to be as a homopolar type linear synchronous machine, right? So again, one time I will mention here. So what is a homopolar type of machine? Homopolar type of machine means the magnets as well as the armature winding are found in the same part of a motor, that is with the primary of a machine. So this type of machine are said to be as a homopolar type machine. Now, and what is the work of this secondary now? It is just having a saliency with the secondary. It is just having a saliency with the secondary, right? It is just having some saliency. So how this saliency are produced, whether this saliency is active or passive, so that we have to know for a homopolar, right? So since there is no winding in the secondary, since there is no winding with the secondary, or there is no magnet in the secondary, then this secondary is said to be as a passive one, right? And this secondary is said to be as passive salient secondary, and this is nothing but a passive salient secondary, and whereas the primary is said to be as active salient primary, and this is said to be as active salient primary, and whereas the secondary is said to be as passive salient secondary, because there is no part of winding present in the secondary, as well as there is no part of ferromagnet present in the secondary. So this one is said to be as a passive one, whereas coming to the primary, there is a winding present there as well as the ferromagnet present there. So this one is said to be as the active part of a machine. Now, coming to the advancement of this passive element. Coming to the advancement of this passive element means here passive salient secondary part of a linear synchronous motor, right? So coming into the advancement, so what advancement made here is this one is made up of, I am drawing some stripes here, right? This one is made up of some two different type of material, and this is made up of some two different type of material, right? One is a ferromagnetic followed by the non-ferromagnetic. Come here, I am going to draw this part somewhat bigger in manner, so we can be able to understand very well, right? So what happens here? So now I am going to have separation such that this part, what is this? This part, this entire part is made up of a ferromagnetic material, whereas this part is made up of a non-ferromagnetic material. Again, this part is made up of a ferromagnetic material. Here, non-ferromagnetic. Here, ferromagnetic. Here, non-ferromagnetic. Right? So the adjacent layer of the salient pole of the secondary, that is passive secondary, is made up of two different type of material. Only the saliency, not coming to this back end of the secondary, only to the saliency. The saliency is made up of two different type of material. One is a ferromagnetic material, another one is a non-ferromagnetic material. This one, if it is ferromagnetic, if this one is ferromagnetic, and the next one will be non-ferromagnetic. So like this arrangement is come, right? One is ferro, another one is non-ferro. Here it is ferromagnetic, non-ferromagnetic. Here it is ferromagnetic, again here it is a non-ferromagnetic. So like this, the arrangement is done for the entire salient of the secondary. Okay. Now, why this type of arrangement is made in the salience? Why this type of arrangement is made in the salience? Right? The reason here, now we will see a torque profile. So in last class we discussed about a torque profile to understand the thrust pulsation in the machine. Right? So this one be the torque and this one be the theta. whereas theta is equal to omega t. So this ups and down. So here we are having a rise here. Here we are having a rise. Again we are having a fall, that is dip. Dip. Again it is saturated, again it is dipped. Again it is going to somewhat a constant power. So this type of rise and fall of a torque or a thrust force is said to be as a pulsation content or a ripple content in the machine. In order to reduce this, what we are doing, we are going for this type of material arrangement, right? Since it is saliency, it will produce a ripple content in the machine. In order to reduce this ripple content, we are going for a two different type of material in order to reduce this ripple content. If you are using this type of material as ferro or non-ferro combinedly, then the ripple content will be in another format as like we will reach more or less a saturation value. But even though we will have some minimum value of rise and fall. So here we can able to see there is a minimum value of rise and fall, right? So that cannot be eliminated. This ripple content cannot be eliminated, but it can be minimized as less as possible, right? So the main cause of ripple is it is having a double saliency in its structure. So we are going for a structural optimization or a geometric modification, or we are going for a sensitivity analysis of a machine. So we are going for a ferromagnetic or a non-ferromagnetic type in order to reduce this ripple content, right? And suppose this one is a single-sided. If it is a double-sided machine, then what we have to do? We have to go for a secondary with another side of saliency. So remember, this saliency is of a passive one. It is not an active one. So coming to the primary also is having a saliency. As we discussed in the reluctance motor, the main drawback in the reluctance motor, it is having a torque ripple. Why it is having a torque ripple? Coming to the reluctance motor, what is the principle? Whenever a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it tends to align in a minimum reluctance position. That means what? We have to excite the machine from maximum reluctance and turn off the machine at minimum reluctance. That is, both the machine are doubly salient. So that is the main reason why we are getting more ripple in case of reluctance motor. Whereas similar, we are finding the same drawback here. Since the stator, that is the active element as well as the passive element, is made up of a doubly salient, we are getting this type of ripple content in the machine. Again, this side of the secondary also is made up of continuous of ferro as well as non-ferro magnetic material. So we can able to reduce the thrust force ripple content or the thrust force pulsation content in the machine, right? So now coming to the next one. Coming to the remaining topic here is the thrust equation as well as the control of linear SRM, and then coming back here we are having some application, right? So now we will see about the application of this machine, right? Application of linear synchronous motor. So what is the application of linear synchronous motor? So coming to the application, if you want to know the application, we have to deal with some advantages. Then only we can be able to know the application exactly. So before going to the application, we have to know what are the advantages. Advantages of linear synchronous motor. Then only we can be able to mention the application exactly. So coming to the advantages. So here the machine is highly reliable, right? Highly reliable because this is having a high acceleration rate. The application of linear machine is suited where we are having a more number of speed is required, more number of velocity is required, that is 300 km/h. So If the speed is like more than 300 kilometer per hour, that instant only you are going for a linear machine, right? So here this acceleration rate is of maximum because it is running at a synchronous speed. So definitely the acceleration rate is maximum. If the acceleration rate is maximum, the machine will have a problem of wear and tear. The machine will have a problem of wear and tear. So this wear and tear is less in this type of linear synchronous motor. Since this wear and tear is very less, automatically the reliability of the machine will be high, right? Now, and then since it is having a less wear and tear, it can give an efficiency of high when compared to a linear induction motor. Now, since it is a linear motor, it is not said that it is going to operate only in the direction of horizontal, right? It can able to operate in the direction of vertical also. It can able to operate in the direction of vertical or any other angle or any other angle it is feasible, right? So since it can able to operate at any different angle as we require, so the control of LSM is very effective. The control of LSM is effective, and then it can be have any one active material. You can have any one active material or active element, right? It is not required that you should definitely have two active elements. If it is one active element also, we can able to make a machine with higher efficiency, right? So with respect to this advantage, we are going to have some applications. We are going to have some applications. So the application here. So with respect to the advantage, we are going to mention the applications. So what are the applications here? Applications of LS. So the application here is, since it is a linear machine, it is can be used in the factories or industry for automation purposes and packing purposes as well as material handling. Right? It can be used in this type of factories. Now, we are saying only with the factories, that is industrial application. Coming to the domestic application, it can be used for as passengers, as elevators, for a tall buildings or some other institutions or any uh, industrial place also we can use it for elevators, right? And then coming to the defense, so this one can also be used in the defense area, that is military to carry the weapons, we can able to use this linear machine. And the next one is in transportation system, and the next is transportation system that we covered here in case of the elevators, right? So these are the major applications that they are utilized here. Again, in case of shipping, that is navy, in case of shipping also we can use the linear synchronous motor to unload the ships, and some hazardous elements also. And then hazardous elements also to remove hazardous elements, or we can say to remove hazardous elements also we can use this type of application, right? And then so in this class we have discussed about the homopolar machine and then the heteropolar machine and what are the advantages of linear synchronous motor and what are the applications with respect to the advantages of linear synchronous motor. And in coming class we are going to discuss about the control scheme as well as the thrust force equation of a linear synchronous